My son's friend's parents want to adopt him. Plus updates. Original post. I, 24 female, am a single mom to my 8-year-old son Owen. It's been just us since day one. His father isn't in the picture and has been able to avoid child support for years now. Yes, I've tried everything. My own parents disowned me. I had to drop out of high school and have worked a myriad of jobs since then to keep us afloat. We aren't on the poverty line by any means, but we definitely live paycheck to paycheck in a 1-bedroom apartment. It's not ideal, and I hope that within the next couple of years we'll be someplace bigger. For now, it's our situation. I've raised Owen to know that money isn't everything. We may not have a lot. He won't always have the newest this or that, but we have each other. The two of us are very close. He has never gone without the basics, but I admit he doesn't get a lot of fun extras. I try to save a little here and there to make birthdays and holidays fun, but it's still never anything glamorous. And I think Owen was fine with that. Until recently anyway. In our area, all the public schools are based on a lottery system, so your child has a fair shot of going to any of them, so long as you put in their name. Our neighborhood school is not great and is in a pretty crappy area, so I decided to put him in a different one across town. It's near my job, so it works out. Last year, when he was in 2nd grade, he met Charlie. They began hanging out a lot after school, with Owen going to his place. I met Charlie's parents, Nate and Paige, a couple of times before this began. They seemed very nice and supportive. Owen always had a great time at their house. Charlie occasionally came to our apartment, but usually they were at his place, which made sense. I work, and there's really not much for them to do here, even when I'm off. During summer breaks, it's easy to find care, as there are several free or low-cost camps that I can put Owen in. It's the shorter breaks, such as Christmas and spring, that are harder. Camp space is limited. For spring break 2022, I managed to just miss registration. Paige is a stay-at-home mom and offered to take Owen for the week. I was hesitant to ask so much of her, but she insisted. He had a really fun time with them. They did a ton of activities, and Paige refused my attempts to pay her back at least some. I couldn't afford it all. I admit I did feel a tad uncomfortable with her spending this much on my son, but at the same time, I didn't want to deprive Owen of this stuff. Summer came, and while I did get Owen into camp, he spent a ton of time with Charlie as well. He ended up going on vacation with them. I was again very hesitant, but the experience was something I could never give Owen, and it wasn't too far away. He had a blast. I kept telling Nate and Paige that there's no way I could ever pay them back, and they kept insisting that they loved having Owen around. They told me what a great kid he is, sweet and respectful. At one point, I really pressed Paige as to why she was so insistent on having Owen around so much. That's when she told me that they never planned for Charlie to be an only child, but all attempts at giving him a sibling just didn't happen. They know that Owen will never make up for not having a brother, but if they can give him a consistent playmate so he's not lonely, they'll do it. Should this have been a red flag? Maybe. But at the same time, I found it sweet that the boys considered each other brothers. I thought it was innocent. Surely Paige and Nate knew the truth, right? Right? This continued for a bit, and come Christmas break of 2022, Paige and Nate insisted that I not even bother to try to get Owen into a camp. They'd take care of him for me. I was grateful. They ended up getting him more Christmas gifts than I did. I tried to set my pride aside because it was about Owen, not me. This is still when things finally started seeming off to me. I understood a gift on his birthday, and while they didn't get him as many gifts as they got Charlie, it was a lot more than you would typically give your kid's friend. Fast forward to now. Spring break was last week, and this time Paige and Nate didn't just offer to take care of him during the day while I worked. They asked if Owen could spend the entire week at their house. Honestly, it meant I could pick up some more shifts and save up for the bike Owen wants for his birthday. So I said yes. I went to pick him up on Saturday afternoon. The kids were playing out back, so Nate and Paige asked to talk to me. They sat me down and said they love Owen, and he's always such a joy to have. I thanked them profusely for all they'd done for him. Paige suggested that Owen stay a little longer. I pointed out Easter was Sunday, plus school started up on Monday. They said they could take him to school. I felt weird and said no. It was time for Owen to come home. That's when Nate suggested that Owen stay with them long term. I could still see him, but they would take care of him. I thought they were joking and said, like what? you'd be his guardians or something? They got quiet, and the reality rushed over me. I pointed out that this wasn't a movie. They can't just get custody. They started spouting some legal stuff about how I could assign them as guardians, and they would help make this transition smooth. They told me to think about Owen and what's best for him. I told them there was no way in hell I was going to give up my son. I grabbed Owen and we left. I've blocked their numbers. Owen has no clue what's going on. I'm keeping him home tomorrow and took the day off work to figure some stuff out. Legally, they can't take him, but now I know what they want, and I'm terrified. I don't want him going back to that school. Do we move? I'm so lost. And I feel so stupid because, looking back, all the warning signs were there. I know Owen is going to be devastated losing Charlie, Paige, and Nate. How am I ever going to explain it to him? Now for the top advice before reading the updates. What I'm wondering though is Charlie even theirs? Did they do this? We can give him a better life with someone far more desperate and now have a kid. I'm wondering why, if they never wanted Charlie to be an only child, they have not taken in another kid in 8 years. If they really wanted another kid, they could have fostered or adopted before now. They just want a good kid that fits their fantasy of a nuclear family, where someone else has done the work to instill good manners and behaviors already. They don't actually care about the kid. I did ask this, kind of. They said it would take a special kid to adopt, and I guess my kid was that special kid. God, there are so many red flags looking back. I would absolutely notify the school that he is not to go with Charlie's family. Document everything, dates he stayed, gifts, etc. Because they sound sick enough to call child services and make a claim that you're negligent or unfit or something. And I'm sure they will say they have had Owen for long periods of time because you couldn't handle being a parent. You'll be able to pull out your notes and texts and show the pattern of grooming. They were actually grooming you to get your son. I would even give those gifts back. These people are crazy. OP said that they love Owen and say how sweet of a kid he is. He is like that because of the way OP raised him. Can you imagine what 2 spoiled teenage boys would be like? If things worked out the way they wanted, they would regret this in about 6 years. I've debated this too. Owen loves these presents and it'd kill him to lose them. But I also don't want to feel like I'm in debt. What if they came for compensation? Now for the first update. There's no way I can respond to everyone, so I just want to say thank you for the advice. While I understand those saying they potentially meant well and weren't trying to be offensive, it's still a risk I can't take. It's not like they offered to take him every so often. They wanted him full-time, permanently. To those who said I should just let them, please pass me whatever drugs you are on. I will never give up my son. Do we have the newest this or that? No, we have our needs met. I love my son and I am not letting him go. As for everyone else, I took your advice and reached out to the school. I told them that Paige and Nate are no longer allowed to pick up Owen and explained I do not feel safe with them around each other. They understood. There's not much they can do outside making sure they never pick him up. It's too late in the year to move classes, but next year Charlie and Owen will not be in the same class. I notified the police, but again, they can't do much. We have nothing in writing, and a simple request to have my child isn't really breaking any laws. Unfortunately, all I can do is hope they don't try anything. I still haven't spoken to Owen. I think it's fine if he talks to Charlie and plays with him at school, but I have to find a way to explain why they can't have play dates or sleepovers, as well as to never go anywhere near Nate and Paige. I guess that'll come in time. I'll update again if anything happens. I'm hoping this is the end. As some of Nate and Paige's defenders said, they did take my no well. So hopefully they realize how totally out of bounds they were and leave us alone. Second update. Monday night I talked to Owen and explained that Nate and Paige were not safe. He was confused, and I explained that they wanted to take him away from me. I think it spooked him as he started crying, saying he didn't want to leave me and he didn't want to see them again. I held him and assured him he wasn't going anywhere. He understands he is never to go anywhere with them, and that the school is taking measures to protect him. I said he could still talk and play with Charlie at school. He said he doesn't want to. I was honestly worried he'd hate me, but you all were right. Telling him the full story made him realize how serious it was. He understands the gifts and trips will stop, and says he's all right with it. Also, I wanted to address one last thing. I've gotten a few people offering me money or gifts. Please do not do that. I am very appreciative, but that was not the purpose of this post. If you wish to do something, donate to your local shelter or other charity. Owen and I are not in need. I'd rather see it go to people who need it. I didn't see Nate or Paige at drop-off, nor have I gotten any contact. But then again, I did block them everywhere. Thank you all for your help. I'll update if anything else happens. Hopefully it won't. Third update. Well, what everyone feared would happen did. Tuesday he returned to school. I told him he could still talk with and play with Charlie. I was hesitant to drop him off but figured you can't live in fear. Most afternoons, my son takes the bus to a local rec center for aftercare. I had already told the school everything and that Nate and Paige were not to pick Owen up. I managed to call and even make sure he got on the bus. Aftercare was also made aware of the change in pickup list. Well, a half hour later, I get a call that Paige had tried to pick up my son. The front desk refused to release him. They didn't say why, just that she was no longer on the list. She wouldn't leave and the police were called. She was escorted out of the building. While she wasn't brought to jail, there is a police report and I am using this to go to court and get an order of protection. Paige and Nate are also banned from the rec center, so if they do show up, they will get arrested for trespassing. The police are working on ways to protect us, and the local social services office has been made aware of the situation, so should they try to make a claim, they're aware of the situation. Thank you for the update. I am pulling for you. Great job on getting your ducks in a row at school and aftercare. They are starting to show their true colors. Please keep a careful eye out and be prepared. Talk with your son some more and make sure he understands a little better to not leave with them. Thank you. I spoke to him Monday evening, so he knew what he was walking into on Tuesday. It freaked him out a lot, and he said he absolutely didn't want to leave me. So, he's aware and knows to never go with them. Now for the last update 2.5 years later. I had realized it had been nearly 2.5 years since I last gave an update, but I thought about this whole saga recently, found the account, and realized over 3,000 of you follow this now, and it seems I still get requests for an update. After this happened, I wanted to stay in the area where we lived, if anything, because I couldn't afford to move us. I ended up transferring Owen to a different after-school program. He still remained friends with Charlie at school. Apparently, Charlie would even call his parents weird and said he was angry with them for making it so Owen couldn't go over there after school. The rest of the year passed by awkwardly, but initially the school did a good job of making sure Nate and Paige were not anywhere near my son. I was told they wouldn't be allowed to volunteer anymore, as Paige often did prior to everything. Summer soon came. Owen started his usual camps, and I thought all was well. I had initially been told that the boys would not be put into the same class the following year. It had been too late in the year to move either of the boys. But when I brought Owen to school on the first day, I saw Charlie's name on the door. It's a small school, and they have a unique last name, so I knew it wasn't a coincidence. I spoke with the principal and was told it was impossible to keep them in separate classes, and there were factors I just couldn't possibly understand. I regretfully didn't fight as hard because I assumed Paige and Nate were still banned from volunteering. It was like a horror movie receiving a letter from the room moms of the class, a typical letter I receive every year talking about fundraising, volunteer opportunities, when they raise money for teacher gifts, etc. Paige's name was right at the bottom. I once again spoke to the principal and was told that they couldn't keep Paige away from the school. She donated a lot of money and was great with the kids. They said since we had no incidents in 5 months at that point, we had to let it go. I tried to. I thought maybe things have changed, but it brought me so much anxiety every time I thought about that woman near my son. The school was refusing to protect him. What if things hadn't changed? I debated switching schools, but this was the best in our area, and I couldn't afford private. I prepared my son. He said he wouldn't try to go with her and would scream if she tried to take him. Sure enough, at the first class party of the year, my son said Paige was there, and Owen said she kept trying to talk to him. She kept asking him to come over and even wanted my new phone number. I changed it for obvious reasons after everything went down. Thankfully, Owen knew better, but I just saw the rest of the year flashing before my eyes. Paige finding ways to be around my son, potentially breaking him down. Since the school didn't care, I had nightmares of them letting her kidnap him. I knew we couldn't stay long, but again, I was broke, working a crap job, and I couldn't just pack up and leave. So I started applying to jobs outside our city. I had one job working in retail, but I picked up house cleaning shifts and occasionally some babysitting shifts in between. I took a chance and applied for a live-in nanny position in a city about 3 hours away. I didn't think I'd have a shot at it, especially as I had a kid. But I met with the parents and they were so kind and sweet. They were more than happy to let me bring Owen with me and let us live with them. They had an in-law suite I could live in as long as I was working there. It was only 1 bedroom, but Owen and I were used to that. He was a little sad about leaving his friends, but we jumped at the opportunity. I admit I was nervous to put ourselves in a similar situation as before. What if these people enticed my son and wanted to take him? But thankfully, they weren't like that. They were kind to Owen, but they maintained boundaries. I eventually told them our story, and they were horrified that this had ever happened to us and assured me they would never try to take my son. I was making better money living with them, and since I didn't have rent or utilities to worry about, I was able to save up more than usual. Owen thrived in his new school. The best part was he got to spend time with me and the little ones I took care of. No more crazy hours, no more after-school programs. After 8 years, we finally caught a break. The family recently outgrew their need for a nanny, but they were happy to help me find a new job. This position isn't live-in, but I was able to save up to put a down payment on a condo, something I never thought would happen. For the first time in 10 years, Owen has his own room, which both excited him and made him a little scared. With the help of my old bosses, who are now good friends of ours, we were able to decorate. My new bosses are so kind, and again, totally fine with me bringing their baby with me to pick up Owen and having him around. I haven't heard from Nate and Paige since April 2023. My son occasionally mentions Charlie, and I know he misses his buddy, but he's also relieved about where we are. I hope for Charlie's sake that his parents have calmed down and maybe learned their lesson so they won't prey on another woman in my situation. I don't speak to anyone from our old city, no friends there, so I have no way of knowing. Sorry if that's not a fun update, but that's where we are, happy, healthy, and doing well. I'm 26 now, but many days feel like I'm 42. I'm in a new relationship now, dating seriously for the first time since Owen was born. I have a group of friends who are also nannies. It took me 8.5 years to gain a support system. I still haven't spoken to my parents. Owen's father will never be part of the picture, but we finally have a family. Still, he often tells me that if all of it went away like Nate and Paige did, he'd be happy with just us. God, he knows how to make his mama cry. Anyway, thank you all for the support and concern over the years. Much love to you all. Last story. My mom told me I was a practice kid. I, 28 male, had dinner with my mom last weekend. Out of nowhere, she laughed and said, "You know you were our practice kid, right? We didn't know what we were doing. We got it right with your brother." She said it like a joke, but I can't stop thinking about it. Suddenly, my whole childhood makes sense. My brother, 25 male, always got new clothes, tutors, trips. I got hand-me-downs and tough love. I always assumed it was because I was older, or because we were broke, or because parents learn as they go. I thought I was imagining the difference. Now it feels like a label someone slapped on my life without asking. I've been in therapy for years trying to unpack why I've always felt like I wasn't enough. I worked on self-worth and on not needing constant approval. I learned to celebrate small wins and to name my feelings. Therapy helped, but hearing my mom say that took the air out of me. It explained the quiet resentments I swallowed. It explained why praise felt weird and why I pushed myself so hard. I'm angry. I'm hurt. I'm also strangely relieved. If I was a practice kid, then I have a reason for some of the cracks I carry. That doesn't fix them, but now there's a map. I can look at the past and not only blame myself. I can keep working into therapy with more direction. I can set boundaries with my mom. I can stop apologizing for who I am. It's a small miracle and a heavy thing at the same time. Probably the same for 100% of firstborn humans. Yeah, I'm the oldest and my parents were freaking rough on me. My brother and sister had almost completely different experiences growing up in the same house. Interestingly, my sister, 7 years younger, had a more relatable experience, but still very different. It kind of just is what it is.